I felt like that was a superhero type thing. Like a breakdancer to me, spinning on their heads, all the things a breakdancer could do is superhuman to me. For a graffiti artist, for instance, the effort it takes to draw, we talk about the tagging, but I'm speaking of like to draw something like that. And then the danger it takes and the courage it takes to do that on somebody else's property. I mean, if we're going to talk about how hip hop started. Hi, Yamil Little. Welcome to Studio Stories. So, my name is Yamil, and Yamil to me is, in essence, a creator. I've been in the hip hop industry, music industry for about 15 years now. And in essence, I wouldn't be here without hip hop. From the breaking to DJing to MCing to graffiti, all of those things are a part of who I am. It has allowed me to express the stress that I go through, the emotions that I go through, get my thoughts out there. And so music for me was a way to kind of get out of what was going around in my environment. It allowed me to see different perspectives. There might be situations where I might not necessarily know exactly the words to express certain things, and I hear a song and it just trigger just the aha moment, like, oh, that's what that means. And it helped me to grow as a man. It helped me to see things outside, I guess, my general incubus of people and what they might be feeding me. It gave me a different perspective to where it allowed me to be like, what I might be seeing in my general environment might not be all there is in this world. It helped me it showed me that there was more to life. And when I say that, I will say hip hop saved my life. And why I would say that is because, growing up, we'll just say growing up as a black male, you were never guaranteed that you were going to get out of these struggles or of poverty and of violence, of the things that happen in certain neighborhoods. And like I said, hip hop gave me an opportunity to know that if you keep working at a thing, if you keep expressing yourself, that you can find an audience and you can find a thing to where people of like minds would give you guidance. So, well, the thing about creation for me is it's a thing to where I would say those things planted a seed, right? So I of course I like hip hop, but I'm the type where I like comics was another thing that really talked about stories that were of struggle, of whether it be dealing with a racial issue or a political issue. It touched on things that were relevant in my life. Growing up in a family to where it was really about the empowerment of black people, empowerment of humanity to an extent to where we wanted to be, there was a certain amount of things that happened in this country to where it got to the point where we felt like we weren't worthy. So when you hear something in the music, kind of like with a De La Soul song or Me, Myself, and I, those three words, me, myself, and I, that unlocked a lot of growth in me because it was a thing to where you had to live in a certain way to where you had to live up to certain standards based off of a family or a hierarchy within a family. But a me, myself, and I, it was a thing like where I could focus on Yamil and be like, what would help me? And then when I tapped into my creative aspect in dealing with the different worlds and dealing with comic books, it helped me to write these stories out in creative ways. And when you think about hip hop, just all the different elements and how you can express yourself, I felt like that was a superhero type thing. Like a breakdancer to me, spinning on their heads, all the things a breakdancer could do is superhuman to me. For a graffiti artist, for instance, the effort it takes to draw we talk about the tagging, but I'm speaking of like to draw something like that. And then the danger it takes and the courage it takes to do that on somebody else's property. I mean, if we're going to talk about how hip hop started, and then the honesty it takes for, and I'll say rapping, but to me, it's in essence, it's poetry. The honesty it takes for a person to write out their thoughts, and in rhyme form. To me, it was just kind of like something to it blew my mind. And then when you come down to just music, music is the voice of the soul. And for me, it is hip hop, but it started with jazz. It started with classical music. It started with instrumentation. And then when you got up to hip hop, when they start sampling things and adding songs that I knew based off of, my mom playing certain, like from Miles Davis to Quincy Jones, to hearing all these people, and then hip hop taking that and making a whole new song out of something that was considered old. I guess in my era, it was considered old. To make it a whole new song that makes you bob your head and have that feeling of that life was going to be okay, that life was going to continue. Because, like I said, growing up in a certain era in a certain space, you kind of think, it could end any day. So to have that hope just in some on vinyl, it was just it's life changing. As you see, I'll get emotional about it if I talk about it too long. You know what I'm saying? Because it just did that much more for me. And comic books to me was just like, it was like, because of all the things, outside things going on in my world as a youth and growing up, I would just escape into these alternate universes, whether it be the Marvel universe, whether it be the DC universe. Of course, I gravitated towards characters that looked like me, but there wasn't a lot. So I love Superman, I love Batman, I love the X-Men. Given that my family, my family, Malcolm X is being in my family, I always was like, this is a representation of my family, showing the X-Men, and what they fought. It was they were fighting for the minority, as you would say. They was fighting for people who were born a certain way and just wanted to live and be accepted. So to tackle these type of issues in story form, given that I was a kid where my outside world was just going crazy, I was able to escape and find solace and find the truth. Outside of what anybody was telling me, there was truth in everything that was quote unquote fictional. The stories on these rap albums, fictional, but the truth, So that's what guided me to wanting to create something similar, something to live on past my death, something for the youth of this era, because although it's a new era, it's a new time, there's still similar issues that still need to be addressed. And the best way you can learn, I feel, is through these creative arts. That's for the evolution of humanity, in my belief. Because we still, I might be at a certain level, but everybody is at a certain energy level. And I think the hope is to elevate us as humans to a certain level to where we can tackle all the issues we have in the real world, as you would say, and give guidance via these vehicles of creation. So the elements of hip hop is basically, we take the elements of hip hop, the b-boy, the MC, the graffiti artist, the DJ, and create characters that embody that. We also touch on what we feel is the fifth element of hip hop, knowledge. So we have character that embodies that. But we didn't stop there. We took characters that represent the violence in hip hop, the over-sexualization of hip hop, the exploitation of hip hop, the materialistic aspect of hip hop, and we created characters that embody that. So the idea is to merge, I guess you would say, the cultural elements that came up out of New York and during the beginning of hip hop, and then the elements that are more relevant now, which is just a little bit more violent, it's a little bit more sexual, and merge them together and create a hip hop universe that could tell stories. So the essence of the story is the exploitation of hip hop, from the cultural aspect to where it is now. And when we say exploitation, we're meaning that it's not necessarily as substance filled as of right now. Like for me, when I was I was stating before, when I grew up, there were certain words and bars coming from Wu Tang, coming from Rakim, that was like real to the point where it was to help. I'm telling you the truth, to not glamorize the truth, but I'm telling you the truth so you can learn from this and become a better human being, or become a better man, is how I saw it. So the thing where we want to say, when we say exploitation, we just want to tell the truth, that there is a certain amount of violence, there is a certain amount of sexualization, but there are reasons why people express those things in the way they do. And we want to touch on the core of why the choices that are made to lead to where you might use violence as an answer, or think of violence as a solution to a problem, when all we feel violence does is amplify problems. And we want to touch on that. So we got characters: Mike Check, he's the MC, Tag, graffiti artist, Break, the break dancer. Simple, right? We got DJ Riot. Then we got Mr. Bling, who represents the over-sexualization of hip-hop. We got Video Vixen, we got Mr. Bling, who represents the materialistic aspect of hip-hop. We got Video Vixen, who represents the sexualization of hip-hop. We have CEO, who represents exploitation. We have Drive-By, who represents the violence. And we're going to we're developing characters. Beatbox is another character, because we know that, in high school, think about high school, when you're at the table, somebody starts beatboxing, drops the beat, and then the MC comes in and starts freestyling. And then we have Cypher, and a cipher is the energy, the exchange of energy. So we have characters that embody all these things. And the goal is to show that all of this is hip hop. All of it is the truth. What can we learn? And what can we do to elevate humanity as a whole? Because at the core of it, all these things that we're touching on didn't just start with hip hop. We as humans have always been drawers, poets, musicians, creators from the beginning of time. So this is just like a remix, so to speak. And given that we are all superheroes in my book, if you survive, if you go through things and you're able to grow and live and excel at what you do, you're a superhero. And we want to show that, or at least inspire that in the next generation of youth that are coming up now. So the idea of the elements came to me by my partner, Pierre, Jean-Louis. And he's from New York, so, he's a hip hop head from the core. And he had a great idea. And at the time, I was at the Art Institute of Atlanta, and he saw that, I was a real creative individual. And then he brought the core of the characters to me. And through our interaction, we were able to develop all the characters that I stated before. And there was a lot, so first off, I'm not an artist. I can't draw at all. So my biggest contribution is my imagination and my ability to connect people and connect situations. So me and Pierre coming together, we went through, if I show you all the different iterations of the characters to the point to where we got them at now, you like, yeah, you guys went through a lot of collaborative situations. And what we learned as far as dealing with artists, that, artists are a different breed of human. Let's just say that. So you have to understand that and be empathetic to that type of mind state. And through our search, we ultimately came up on an artist by the name of Jetty Lewis, who's in Chicago, who is just a dope artist, a beautiful young woman that lives up in Chicago. She does fine art, she does graffiti art, she's just across the board, tap into all of that as far as the actual drawing of it. And then us three together coming with the idea, the business acumen, the imaginative creative aspect and the actual physical drawing aspect, we've come together as a team and are creating this what we feel will be an epic situation because it's touching on so many what we would say subcultures within the over hip hop genre that it's something for everyone to to learn from and enjoy and see themselves in and grow from. So our to collaborate, I don't think it would be anything. Like, matter of fact, I know I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this if it wasn't for Pierre and Jetty. And then I've had multiple people who are just on the outside looking in, just, you know, sending ideas in. So, like, one of our marketing things is where we have different Instagrams for each character. So the idea behind that was to treat each character as a individual, like say it was a hip hop artist, like promote each character like that. And through the Instagram, it has helped us kind of hash out their perspective by different posts. Like, for instance, the breakdancing when we just deal with all styles of dancing, but also we see elements of fighting styles within breakdancing by itself. And if you think about the beginning of breakdancing, it was a way to stop violence in New York. So it was a way to where you can let out a certain amount of aggression without somebody actually dying. And our character Break, he created a style of dance called breakata, where it's, you know, if you look at the styles and the movements of breakdance, there's a lot of, there's kung fu, there's capoeira, there's certain things that you see in other martial arts styles within that character. So, you know, on our Instagram, we just post things that are relevant to that specific demographic. And then, of course, with the video vixen, you know, we have a lot of women out there that augment their bodies and do things that, you know, what we feel is a thing to where it helps them feel better. It builds their self-esteem for them, but there are times where that can go south. And we kind of just gear our marketing strategies towards to where we are able to develop the character by the algorithm in Instagram. Because as you know, social media is basically humanity on the internet. And you get to see a lot of different things. So it's allowed us to kind of do something where we feel it's never been done before in regards to merging hip hop with the comic book, with social media, and with humanity all tied in one. So, you know, I feel like we're tapping into something different. So we're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna see how it goes. And, you know, I know this era, there's a lot of things in this era where it's a thing to where there's a lot of people doing similar things. And the biggest thing for me in this, and even how I was brought up, is where you had to be your own person. You had to be unique. And when I say had to and using that word, that doesn't, I would say it's not a thing to where you have to look outside of yourself. The uniqueness is you. Like, you as a person, there is nobody that is like you. So the goal would be to learn about who you are, learn your idiosyncrasies, understand who you are, and create from that source. Because I could give you everything that I did to make who I am. You're gonna do it differently. You can give me all of your secrets. You can tell me everything. What I create is going to be completely different than what you do. If I tap into my own Yamil, you know, as if you tap into your own whatever your name is. So that would be my advice to anybody who takes the time to look at this whole footage is, and I'm sure some of you guys already know this, but who are you? Once you understand who you are, and get to your why you do things in your life, once you understand your why, create out of that source. Create take all the influence, take in all the influences around you, or block them out, however you want to do it. Because at the end of the day, if you know who you are, none of that is going to change that part. And nobody can do that. And nobody can be that. Nobody can be you. Nobody can be me. And if you create out of that source, it was going to be something new. And when you add something new to this world, what you're doing is it's a light that you're flicking in, because you're giving everybody else the permission to be themselves by being yourself. So be yourself, create out of that source, thereby influencing others, and receive that from others as well. Allow others to be themselves and accept them for who they are. Tap into that empathy to where you can understand another person's perspective. And then once we do that, there will be a epiphany in your head, epiphany in my head, and we can start evolving as a human species, I would say, and reaching things we've never seen before. They say there's nothing new under the sun, but I don't think there was cameras in 1500s. So there's certain things that we can still evolve to and grow to, but I think the source is within each of us. And once we understand that, we will be creating, and we are understanding that, and we are getting there. So it's already happening. All I'm saying is get on the train. Get aboard this train of inspiration, of creation, because we're all creators. Whether whether we're driving or we allow somebody else to drive for us, we're creating. So the goal and the thing for the long term, for you as a person, for me as a person, is to know who we are. Know that for yourself. Take the time to know that. Give yourself time to know that. And then once we do that, the world will be a better place for us, and then our children and our children's children. So once again, this is Yamil Little. Our website for the elements is theelementsofhiphop.com. You can follow us on social media, The Elements of Hip Hop on Instagram. I'm Yamil Little. I'm Yamil Little on Instagram. And this is Studio Stories. Stay tuned and tap into yourself. Peace.